Hello, welcome to this update for the Surfy weather. So, just want to highlight a few important things that changed. So, we have this light risk across Oklahoma to Kansas, and also big part of eastern Colorado into New Mexico and northern Texas. There's this light risk central Texas still, and this one further western Texas into New Mexico. So this light risk across Kansas and Oklahoma does have this 5% tornado threat, slightly more elevated tornado threat this afternoon and evening. So be careful in those areas today, northwestern Oklahoma into southwestern Kansas and Colorado, like southeastern Colorado too. There's this 2% tornado threat from Texas to northern Colorado, and there's this 2% tornado threat in western Texas and New Mexico too, and also central Texas. So be careful in those areas. There's like this 15% wind threat across the light risk in Texas into Kansas and Oklahoma and Colorado and New Mexico, and also this small 15% for central Texas. So be careful. And 5% wind threat as far east as North Carolina. Hail is still some very large hail possible in Kansas and Oklahoma, into Texas, and spots of Colorado too. So be careful. Those storms might be stronger in those areas today of Kansas and Oklahoma, Colorado. So stay safe, and still some 15% in Texas, New Mexico. So there's here like severe thunderstorms capable of producing large to very large hail, damaging wind gusts, and a few tornadoes should occur today across parts southern central plains. Isolated wind damage may occur across parts Gulf Coast southeast. So be careful in those areas. Still this marginal risk for Thursday tomorrow from New Mexico to Florida, and there's like has less than 2% tornado threat, but this might change still. There's 5% wind threat in all of those areas, and there's hail also in all of those areas, 5% hail threat. So be aware, marginal severe threat expected Thursday from parts southern high plains to the southeast. So be aware those areas. Friday there's this light risk across North Carolina, South Carolina. So be careful in those areas into eastern Georgia too. And there's this marginal goes all the way from New Mexico to Maryland, so a wide area. And there's like 15 or 5%. So severe storms can reduce in large hail and wind damage possible across parts of Carolinas on Friday. Marginal severe threat will possible across much Gulf Coast states in southern section of the Mid-Atlantic. So be aware. And then day 4 through 8, still nothing. There's these isolated dry thunderstorms central New Mexico still possible today, so be aware as well, because those can cause fires. And there's slight risk of excessive rainfall still for Wednesday today, spots of Oklahoma into Kansas, and also northeasternmost Texas Panhandle, and also central Texas, this light risk. So stay safe from some heavy rain. There's like this marginal from Wyoming to Alabama, so be careful. Marginal the East Coast as well. Day 2, this big slide on the deep south, so be careful there, and the marginal around it, spots of Texas, New Mexico, and all the way to South Carolina, and as far north as Illinois, so be aware. Day 3 for Friday still shows this marginal from Florida to Pennsylvania, and as far north as portions of New York. There's day 4 as marginal in the northeast still, and day 5 nothing. So be aware, winter weather not really showing anything except for day 6 and day 7 in the Rockies, shows a thing or two. But this heat wave cranking up spot to the southwest might really be good to watch. But first let's see the southeast. There's even extreme heat risk portions of Florida today, and some major heat risk in a few spots. So be careful. It's already moderate on the northwest. Thursday still moderate on the west, and spots of Florida and Texas. Friday Friday really cranks up across California. Already shows major heat risk many parts of the valleys and all the way to Northern California, spots of Nevada too. Saturday still major across spots of Utah into Nevada, especially California, and more in Arizona, more moderate, even Montana moderate, and Florida still. Sunday gets better, but still moderate in a few spots in many areas under minor heat risk. Monday and Tuesday still shows further north some moderate, and later next week into Texas maybe some moderate again. So be aware in those areas. We have these two systems happening now. These storms going off the Texas coast, and this rain in the east coast that's going into the Atlantic. So these two areas now, and later does show the storms in spots of Kansas and Oklahoma this evening. Some strong cells there, especially uh, when they start, like right at the start of the evening, shows some strong cells. Let's see if we get a closer look. So show like right those initial moments, like in Oklahoma and southwestern Kansas, that tornado threat and large hail. So this goes, and possibly tomorrow still some storms in Oklahoma and into Texas. So stay safe in those areas. Shows here Thursday, more spots of northern Mexico into Texas and spots of the southeast, more storms Thursday. The Cape still shows this afternoon, especially in Oklahoma and into Kansas, some higher amounts of Cape, so stay safe there, especially to southwestern Kansas and Colorado, to 3,000 joules per kilogram or something. Shows across Texas, some widespread Cape, so a lot of instability still. Stay safe. Thursday shows across the southeast more, especially in Texas, still shows a lot of Cape and some good dew points across the south still. Some areas slightly less, but generally good. And today's spots of the plains, it's not showing that high, only around the low 60s, but it'll be enough to support those storms, so be careful. There's like alright, in the southwest, more than 100 degrees this afternoon. In Arizona, spots of California too, and spots of the northwest, alright, to 94, 91. So be careful, spots of the southeast, so 90s too. Alright, this afternoon shows more during the night, slightly colder in the Rockies, in the Sierra Nevada, and that's Thursday morning. So Thursday afternoon already shows like more than 102, 101, Arizona, California. So 90s already in the valleys. Those areas they show 91 already, spots of the of Idaho into Montana, and spots of the southeast too. There's like during Thursday night into Friday morning, slightly colder, a few spots of the Rockies, but still warm in the south. But Friday afternoon might start to boil in some spots. Shows to 107 Northern California Valley, 102, 103. I hope I'm seeing that right. Yeah, and shows to 105 in Nevada, more spots down in Arizona. So please be careful. And Death Valley might be even to like 115. So please be careful. There's like during Friday nights, Saturday morning, nothing really that crazy, but the show Saturday afternoon will be one of the hottest days there. So show some haze in some other parts of the country, into Florida too, in the northwest, right, to some 90s as well, some portions there. And let's see here. The southwest is already showing Saturday afternoon like 106 in the valleys, 105, and it's already like to Arizona as well, to 102, even to 105 southern Utah in some mountains, some valleys that are not mountains, mountains are colder, but some 90s in other spots there, to 100 in Nevada too. And we can zoom in more, but those valleys in California, like Death Valley, other spots might be even to like 115 to 120. So please stay safe. There's like During the night, it still shows even 70 and 80 during the night, Sunday morning. But Sunday afternoon again, some 90 is still close to 100, but nothing that crazy. The worst will be Friday and Saturday. So please stay safe in those areas. There's still some 90s across Sunday afternoon in the south and even in the north, some 80s. But Monday morning, June 2nd, still already shows some slightly colder temperatures in the Cascades and spots of the northwest by June 2nd, and also some 40s in the northeast. June 3rd, no, June 2nd, the afternoon, shows some 90s in the south again, spots of the southwest, some close to 100, and the southeast warm. Days for Tuesday morning, kind of colder in the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades and the Rockies, so slightly below average later into next week, and including during the day. So shows some 90s in spots of Texas, the mid south into Florida still by later next week. So be careful in those areas. For today, May 28th, still shows slightly stronger gusts in Wyoming, in some mountains and spots the west coast, kind of breezy, and the east coast, that system might have some gale warnings. So be aware. And still shows like, I don't think there's any snow, but 48 hours shows like less than a centimeter in Colorado, but nothing too crazy. Here's the significant tornado parameter for this afternoon. There's this localized spot in Kansas there, and spots of Colorado, some higher tornado parameters. So be careful this evening. By 0C, does get some localized areas, even higher tornado parameters there. And by 4C, during the night, it dissipates. But stay safe in those areas with the large hail and tornadoes. So does show a few storms in the south, very light, like nothing too crazy. The updraft released, it does show in central Texas some tracks there, but the real thing here is those tracks in southern Kansas. The hurricane has some very intense rotating updrafts spots of Kansas, so stay safe. Large hail and tornadoes there today, so be careful. And still shows, let's just check this rainfall totals again, because we didn't even check them. So 7 days is showing a trend more towards Florida. This is some more widespread rainfall to watch, but still in the south, some storms, localized heavier totals, and Kansas and Oklahoma still heavy, even Montana showing slightly more rain. So be aware, the East Coast and a few spots, day 1 through 2, a big portion of this rain in the next 2 days in the south, those storms in the plains. Day 1 through 3 increases light on the east, and day 1 through 7. So stay safe. Those areas, there's still this area in the Pacific, it's near to 100% chance of formation, right? Might become a tropical depression tonight or a tropical storm, but it's kind of struggling a little bit, but it will make it later today. So we're still watching this for Mexico, and you can see there it's almost starting to spin. So be aware, those areas 5 days does have like more showers and storms in Mexico, Central America and to Panama, especially Central Mexico. Mexico City might get some good storms, so be careful those areas. Central to southern Mexico, some heavier storms. Also western in eastern Canada is showing some more rainfall, so be aware. The Bahamas, that does show even to 100 millimeters next 5 days, so there could be some storms. The GFS barely nothing, but the icon has some more storms in the Bahamas too, so be aware those areas. And long range, the European is showing this surge of moisture from the Caribbean into Cuba and the Bahamas like next 10 days, and it is showing some big totals in Central America next 10 days to watch. So we'll keep watching, but that's still like far out. But still more showers in Trinidad and Tobago and some thunderstorms spots of the Caribbean still, Hispaniola and Cuba, a few passing thunderstorms or showers in the next 5 days. So be aware, those areas still shows in Alaska or into western Canada, a few spots higher precipitation because those Pacific front still. So still be aware this belt of more rain through central Canada, from British Columbia to Manitoba. So be aware. There might be snow too. So here it doesn't really show any snow, so most of that is rain. But there shows some snow in the mountains in Alberta still. So still be aware, some spots there, and more spots northern British Columbia, the mountains still show some heavier snow, and southwestern British Columbia as well, but mainly further north. Shows in Yukon, some the northwestern territory still, and like northern Yukon especially. Shows more into northern Alaska. Be careful this northern section here, and those mountains southern Alaska will have some heavy snow. The southern Alaska mountains show some in the Rockies, further south in Colorado, close to 1 to 2 inches, but like very little, barely 2 inches. And shows in Idaho, a finger or two in Montana, Wyoming, even the Sierra Nevada, like less than 1 inch. But we'll keep watching because 8 days is showing more snow long range, like in the next 8 days, spots of the west. So we'll keep watching. And there's northern Quebec and Labrador still shows more than 40 centimeters in a few spots. So be aware, potential Nunavut too. There's the GFS, it has also in Quebec and Labrador some heavier snow, and spots of Montana into Alberta and British Columbia, especially in the mountains. And northern Alberta, the GFS is showing something too. It has more northern Alaska into the Yukon, northwestern territories. So be aware that snow still. Temperatures already warmer across central to eastern Canada, even to 26 degrees in New Brunswick, but still colder into western Canada and into Alaska. So this goes Thursday. Actually, it's still early there, so this afternoon, Wednesdays already shows slightly warmer across the west and colder in the northeast, but this does show slightly colder in the northwest during the night, and the north of Nunavut and northeastern Quebec, but still warmish central Canada. There's this like kind of out of place heat wave because this will be warmer than usual in my opinion for this time of year, but be aware. Some 32 degrees, 31 spots of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and to the northwestern territories. It still shows spots of the Hudson Bay, Manitoba, some active temperatures in Nunavut too, spots in northern Quebec and to Labrador, so still slightly colder. This is Friday morning, shows spots of the west, still colder too, and much of Alaska. So still slightly colder, but Friday afternoon, still this warm zone in Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba. So be aware, this goes still slightly colder northern Ontario, Saturday morning, and further north there in Quebec, northwestern Canada. So beware, but still remains warm later. So still warmish for central Canada. So be aware those areas, and the European model for California Friday and Saturday. It does have a similar thing. It even has to like 107 Central California. Friday it does have to like 107 Fahrenheit, even to 108 in a few spots, more spots further south, even Las Vegas to 104. So be careful. The GFS is a similar thing, maybe slightly less, but yeah, be careful that heat wave. So let's see if there's those warnings here. So it does show those excessive heat watches, not excessive, extreme heat watches, sorry, in spots of California to Nevada still, and already heat advisories much of California. This is might be already in effect, but especially like these heat advisories go from like Friday to Sunday, so I don't think it's already in effect, but be careful. So Thursday afternoon through Sunday, those temperatures, they're like major heat risk, safety tips. So beware breezy winds and heat advisories. So 11 a.m. Friday for 11 p.m. Saturday. So please stay safe in those areas. Let's just go back here. In the south, some river flood warnings and advisories, but nothing too crazy. Hawaii, a small wind advisory in the top of the mountains, but nothing too crazy. So stay safe in those areas. Those winds there still slightly higher along the Pacific or into central Quebec, some spots the southern Caribbean too. But this goes that system near the east coast, some higher winds, but does show these stronger winds starting Friday across northwestern Canada into like British Columbia, spots of Alberta, especially Nunavut later, like northern Nunavut. And Friday, this goal still shows maybe slightly breezier into Saskatchewan later and stronger Nunavut, even Montana might get breezier Friday. In a few spots in Alaska, so Saturday shows the stronger winds near the east coast there of the US Saturday, and maybe into Atlantic Canada Sunday, slightly stronger in a few spots. The European does have the stronger winds on June 2nd, June 1st, and June 2nd, Central Canada, maybe into the northern US. The European still has in the Hudson Bay on June 3rd and stuff in the US, some stronger winds. The GFS, kind of, it's slightly different, but be aware those areas, especially like Wednesday, still shows in Quebec some stronger winds. Today is Wednesday, and then this goes, the GFS still shows like Thursday, tonight into Thursday in Newfoundland. So be aware of the GFS even stronger northern Nunavut, this wind system there, and that low pressure goes. So be aware those areas and still be careful those very hot temperatures in Mexico and Central America, especially like in the Yucatan, those hot areas that I mentioned yesterday on the video there. So still stay safe, spots of the Caribbean warmer too, and be careful. Wait, one more thing. Before we end this, let's just see that they kind of put us 5% a little bit larger into Colorado. I think it's a little bit larger, but I know they updated this because they added this fourth slight risk across Mississippi and Louisiana now. So be careful, some more winds there. And the hail's still the same today, but stay safe.